is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello, boys.
Would you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
Britain is set to be blasted by a snow bomb with severe gales and heavy winds forecasted. Snow?
Oh, no.
The UK has experienced unseasonably warm temperatures this week following Storm Arwen and Bara. Don't they sound like they should be in Lord of the Rings? However, that is set to change just a couple of days after Christmas. Weather experts NetWeather have predicted that on the December the 27th, temperatures will plummet and brutal conditions will commence with 5 storms before the end of winter. Doesn't 5 storms before the end of winter sound like an episode of Game of Thrones? The new storm, dubbed Storm Carrie... No. Corrie, not Carrie. Storm Carrie is, every day is stormy over at Carrie's place. The new storm, dubbed Storm Corrie, could see 1 centimetre of snow fall in the northwest of the UK. A centimetre? I have no idea how much that is because centimetres are filthy foreign European surrender lengths. So I will translate that into Her Majesty's Imperial measurements. And you multiply by 9 and divide by 5 and add 32 to get from centimetres to feet. So 1 times 9 is 10. Divide by 5 is 3. And 3 plus 32 is 37. Wow. The northwest of this country is going to get 37 feet of snow. Can you believe that?
No.
British Weather Service's meteorologist Jim Dale, not that one, said, "We expect 5 to 6 storms to hit through the winter period, which could be severe enough to warrant naming." Well, let's see if we can't name them something sensible. I mean, what's Aaron and Barra when they're at home? Nobody in the history of personkind has ever been called Aaron or Barra. That's just a fact. I want the next storm to be called C4 Chuggy. Storm Chuggy. That's got quite a ring to it, don't it? Like a bell. Storm Chuggy. Hands in the air. Who's with me? Let me count. Everybody. Tonight, low cloud fog affecting some parts of England, and I sincerely hope that your parts remain unaffected. Saturday, low cloud fog, feeling cold, widely sunny across Scotland.
What?
Rubbish. Checking that while you wait. Aha! Sun my eye. Cloudy tonight and cloudy tomorrow and cloudy on... This is Glasgow. And cloudy on Sunday and cloudy on Monday and cloudy on Tuesday and cloudy on Wednesday and raining on Thursday. So you get up to Thursday without any significant rainfall. Can you actually believe that?
No.
And then raining on Friday and cloudy on Saturday and... What? It might actually be sunny for an hour or so on Sunday the 26th. In celebration of Jesus' birthday. And then cloudy on Monday and cloudy on Tuesday and cloudy and rainy for the rest of your lives. Oh, well, never mind. Sunday to Tuesday, dry but cloudy with fog, fresher on Tuesday, light winds, becoming cold. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
No.
OK. So for the next 2 weeks, which fact fans takes us up to New Year's Eve. Cloudy at the start, generally dry, showers possible. Around Christmas Day, the threat of rain or wintry conditions increases with stronger winds in the south. Temperatures likely to be rather cold. That's to the end of this year, which is charging towards us at great speed. Actually, it's charging towards us at the same speed it ordinarily does. Stupid. Then the first 2 weeks of the new year, mostly settled with frost and fog, but for the northwest, showers or longer spells of rain and maybe snow. Yeah, the northwest. See? Colder in the south, but into the second week of January, turning milder. Into the second week of January, turning milder? We'll take it. Savannah emails, hypothetical question for you. Assuming both leaders were eligible to lead both countries, who would be a better leader of the UK and who would be the better leader of the US right now? Choice, Bodger or Donny? Brackets, and you're not allowed to say neither. Neither.
Oh, shut up!
Jim says, when I search on eBay, your merchandise is either prophetic, Nick Abbott for President badges, or a magazine with Nick Faldo and Russ Abbott from 1990. Well, that's a twofer. Are you a golfer fond of witticisms, or are you running for the president against Orange Don? I think we should be told. God, these people are keen. Pete says, I've been barely on like 2 minutes. I've only done the weather. Already I'm getting questions. How do these people get my address? Pete says, this week it's as though Bozza has been lining up material for you in time for Christmas. You must not know where to start this evening. Well, let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. Do not adjust the colour on your television sets. Tories' faces really are that shade of red. Red-faced Tories went puce under the lights of the television studios as they sought to explain that the result of a by-election wasn't anything really, probably a miscount or an error caused by the electorate forgetting to take their reading glasses to the polling booths. Meanwhile, at Clown Central HQ, Bodger Johnson went on the attack by putting a face mask on so we couldn't see him. I mean, that was absolutely priceless. It's the first time I can ever remember seeing him wearing a face mask. I mean, he gladly bounds around a hospital without one, but now he's lost a parliamentary seat. You can't get a picture of him without a face mask on. Why the sudden change of heart there, Bodge? The Tories lost the by-election in North Shropshire. Wherever that is. The Liberal Democrats... You remember the Liberal Democrats, don't you? There used to be a thing quite a long time ago. Anybody?
No.
The Liberal Democrats won with almost half of the votes, as in 47%. The Tories lost with 31%. Labour were on about 9%. And the Greenies came fourth with 4%.
Groovy.
You go, Greenies. And the number that I was interested in was the turnout. I thought, is it going to be like 15%, 20%, something like that, some moribund turnout? But no, it was a fairly respectable 46%. Which, you know, considering the virus and the weather and all that, wasn't too bad. I mean, it's awful, of course. Less than half the people could be bothered to actually walk 10 yards down to their voting, their place of voting, and spend 10 seconds putting a cross on a piece of paper. That's just absolutely shocking, isn't it? After everything that's been going on. 46%, less than half. That's rubbish. But it's an indicator of the state of the nation that is actually considered to be not bad. Not bad turnout. Well done, everybody. Less than 1 in 2 of you could be bothered. But the good people of North Shropshire, I mean, it took them a while, but they've finally had the chance to reflect on their votes for the Conservatives at the last election, and, of course, Brexit at the referendum. How's Brexit going for you, by the way, you North Shropshire farmers?
Brexit's going great.
Glad to hear it. How are we spelling the word great? Of course, the Tories have held this seat since forever. And only now that we have a government as respected and reliable as that run by the dear leader, have the people of North Shropshire been shown the error of their ways. I read the Farmers Weekly this week. And according to the latest Farmers Weekly sentiment survey, support for the Conservatives has fallen from 72% to 57% among farmers over the past 12 months. That's a pretty big number. From 72% to support to 57% support. And my first thought was, seriously, 57% of the farmers of this country still support the Conservative Party? Have you people been huffing nitrates? Prepare yourself. This next name is not something that I'm making up. This is his actual name. A farmer based in North Shropshire called Geoffrey Bastard.
What?
I assume that's how you pronounce it. That's how it's spelt. Bastard. Geoffrey Bastard, a farmer in North Shropshire. I ain't making it up. A farmer based in North Shropshire called Geoffrey Bastard tweeted that he had crossed the floor as he was unhappy with the route the Conservatives were taking on agricultural policy, trade and other areas. And I am assured that Jeffrey's real name is Jeffrey Bastard, and that's probably the name that he will be known by in number 10 today.
Correct.
But dairy farmer Richard, whose second name is unimportant, he milks 1,800 cows across 2 farms in North Shropshire. Blimey, his hands must be aching. He personally milks 1,800 cows? Doubtful. He said the result had left him feeling angry and frustrated. Plus the carpal tunnel syndrome is awful when the weather gets cold. He said it's a protest vote, and I just do not feel at the moment this country needs more problems. He's a dairy farmer. He milks 1,800 cows across 2 farms in North Yorkshire, and he said that the result of the North Shropshire by-election had made him feel angry and frustrated. He's not disappointed. He's angry. It's a protest vote, he said. Yeah, they're protesting against the blooming government. It's a protest vote. Exactly. It's a protest vote, and I just do not feel at the moment that the country needs more problems, he told Farmers Weekly. Please explain, in words that I can understand, how it would cause a problem to this nation to give the government a kicking. He says, I feel we need to be concentrating on more important things such as trade deals after Brexit and levelling up the economy rather than party politics. Levelling up the economy. What, you mean from the last 11 years of the Labour government? Bloomin' Jeremy Corbyn has been running this country for 11 years, and only now the Conservatives, finally they've got in, they'll be able to start levelling up the country. Is this real life or am I hallucinating?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Hello? Number, please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yes, sorry to keep you waiting. Let's have... no, not him. Let's have... let's try this one. Mitcham. Hello, James.
Oh, hi, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I thought I'd just have a quick chat with you about I heard the congestion charge is being sort of stopped at night sometime soon.
Well, I did hear about that, but only second hand. When's it being stopped?
Well, I thought you might tell me.
If only.
It matters to you, surely?
It does.
That will save you a
yes,
couple
very
of quid
much
a
so.
week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's after 6 p.m. I think it stops.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's good news for late night radio hosts.
Well, he should get on with it. I mean, really, we don't need another impediment to people coming in and spending their money in the West End of London. I mean, it's I wouldn't say that it's deserted, but the footfall is significantly down, and it can't help to charge people, I don't know what it is now, it's like 10, 15 quid, something like that, just to come in and park their car. Let's encourage people to come in, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I think what we should encourage is people to use public transport to come in, not necessarily driving.
Yeah.
I mean, I quite like... I live in Mitcham and I sort of work in the Shoreditch area. So it's about a 10-mile cycle I do.
Right.
And as I go through the city, I love playing the game of how many people are in that car. And it's normally one person in that car, one person in that car.
Yeah, mind you.
In that car.
Yeah, mind you. I've been travelling on the trains lately, and it's one person on the train.
Yeah.
Me.
I've been getting the tube this week, and it's pretty empty.
Yeah.
To be fair. Yeah.
You see, you're not going to encourage people onto public transport by making it more expensive to use their car. They're just going to decide not to come in at all. That's the decision they'll make, because there is a thing called a virus going around, and we're in so we're being persuaded in very scary times. So people are not going to think, yeah, okay, well, it's going to cost me more in the car, so I'll go on public transport and potentially squeeze into crowds of heavily breathing people. They're just going to say, well, you know what, I'll just stay in and watch TV.
Yeah, and then they're putting up the train fares are going up 3.8%.
Yep.
In next year, so that's... I mean, it's good, though, because, we'll get 3.8% better service, surely.
A comedian on the phone.
At least. Yeah, so, I mean, it's just, where's the bright side?
Yeah, well, there ain't one. But best of luck looking for it. Thanks a lot, James. It is, I mean, I find it hard to believe that public transport has made it this far because, like London Transport, for instance, it's the same up and down the country, regardless of who it is that you rely on your, getting about. They've lost all of their revenue streams, all of them. The people aren't buying tickets in the same numbers that they were. I mean, in some periods we've been going through, it's been down like 90%. You can't operate a business like that. But their other two revenue streams, they've collapsed as well because they used to sell, well, still do, try and sell adverts to put on buses and trains and so on. Well, if you haven't got any people travelling on the trains, then you can't sell the adverts for them to look at because they ain't looking at them. And the other one is, of course, they rent out parts of their property to shops and so on. But if you ain't got no customers coming through your stations, then nobody's going to want to open a shop in a station. So it's just a catastrophe, which is a real shame because I do think that we have, particularly in London, I mean, it gets a bit rough outside, but in London we have probably if not the best, then among the best public transport systems in the world. Now, I know there'll be a sharp intake of breath for people who live in, well-ordered places like, I don't know, I've never been to Singapore, but I assume that if they've got a public transport system, it works like magic. But nobody, apart from, say, New York, has got the breadth of transport that we've got. I mean, the London Underground, I don't think there's another underground system in the world that's as big as ours. And with Crossrail coming and the north-south route through London Bridge, I mean, it's just brilliant. But it's not going to survive unless it's artificially propped up by Her Majesty's government, which, of course, it should be. But then we're into politicking. Don't get me started on that. Oh, no, that's right, you already have. Bruff in Humberside. Hello, Derek.
Hi, Nick. We've got an underground system in East Yorkshire. It's called the sewer.
Oh, the smell of it, yeah.
Do you think people are just starting to wake up to this buffoon at last, Nick?
Yeah, wakey. It's later than you think.
All you Brexit cult followers, wake up from your trauma and start to... but did you know, I saw an interview today with... Trauma. That's what it is, isn't it?
Wake up from your trauma. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a trauma, but they don't want to admit to it yet, do they? They don't want to admit to the trauma because it's
too much loss of face. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But did you see there was I don't know if you can mention another thing. There's a guy, a journalist, did an interview with him today. I don't know if you've seen it, and he said that he would take responsibility for the results of the by-election.
Sure he will. Yeah. And then in the next breath, he blamed it on us.
Yeah, the news, the media focusing, the people focusing on the wrong thing.
Exactly.
They should be
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Yeah, they should be focusing on my good side. Here, have you seen this? He said.
Yeah, and then he said, focus on the well-being booster program and the well-being and all this, like forgetting that the rest of the world's already caught up with us.
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
He told this guy, he says, he asked him another question to put him back on track again. He says, you broke the golden rule.
What's that?
Well, asking a question about something that Boris didn't want to talk about.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
Even, it was Sam Coates on Sky. Even he was asking what the golden rule was. That is broken. Yeah, it was absolutely... Honestly,
no wonder Bodger's wearing a mask. He doesn't want to see. He doesn't want us to see his expression of desperation.
Yeah, his ugly face, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
oddly, covering part of his face actually does make him look even worse than he ordinarily does. I mean, he does look with the face mask off. He looks dishevelled. With the face mask on, he looks like a homeless person. No offence, Bodge.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
All right, thanks a lot, Derek. 0345 6060 973. Now, I had to check on this next one, and I don't think it's correct. Tim texts Barra in Welsh, the storm Barra and Arwen, which they do sound like, either Lord of the Rings, my precious, or the other one, the throne thing. Barra in Welsh means bread. Now, I had to check on that, and I don't think it does, unless you know otherwise. Then very much depends on how you on how you spell it. So I've got Barra is an island of the Outer Hebrides in Scotland. I mean, everybody knows that, right? And Barra with one R is something you're not going to like. My eyes are out on stalks. I can't believe it. You know what Barra with one R means? It's a genre. Oh, hate that word. It's a genre meaning or of homoerotic media, usually manga comics, often pornographic, in Japan. Isn't that awful?
Disgusting.
Barra. They've called a storm after that. I want the name of the person who's calling these storms after pornographic material. This is an educational show, isn't it?
No.
And some things that you've learned, I bet you will want to scrub from your mind. Oh no, I read that. Sue says, I am backing Booster Boris. Now, I'm assuming that there is a deep vein of sarcasm running through this text. Let's carry on and find out. Sue texts, I am backing Booster Boris. He has been relentlessly persecuted by the left learning media. That's what she's written. The left learning media for weeks. Let's unite as a nation and get behind our brave PM to get us out of this quagmire! ! Yeah, she's being sarcastic, isn't she? Spot that a mile away, Sue. You're not going to catch me out with that one. And, you see, every now and again, when, I've got a spare 6 or 7 hours, I like to look at the comments section in the Daily Mail, the Mail Online. And you can see that, I mean, there's some people just lurk around there all day long, trying to get a rise out of people. Like they'll put something in there like that. Or, I think Princess Meghan is the best royal that there ever has been. You know, something like that. And their heads will just explode with fury. The ordinary commentators will start bashing their keyboards with their fists. They're so angry. Just type up a load of nonsense and then hit send. Yeah, exactly. RJ says, I actually heard a caller on LBC today said that Bodger was doing his best, that he got Brexit done though, and he wasn't even being sarcastic, says RJ. Oh my God. He hasn't got Brexit done. He's not done anything of the sort. Name one single positive thing that was promised to us about Brexit that has actually come to be. I'll make this really easy for you. Just one thing that is positive about Brexit. Anything. Go on, name one single thing. 0345 6060 973. I challenge you, I double dare you. Call me right now and tell me one single positive thing that has come out of Brexit that was promised to us. Or in fact, I'll take off the end part. Even if it wasn't promised to us. One single positive thing. Without saying something stupid like, well, at least we got our democracy back. Try not to say anything like that. Look at that switchboard, see? Jason says, I think he's worked out that if we see his lips moving, we can easily tell when he is lying, so he has covered his face to stop us seeing. Yes, Jason, but we can hear. We can hear you, Bodge. So, I'll get into who his Bodgeness blames for his ignominious defeat in just a minute. And it is, of course, himself. I am joking. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 10:30. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Right, so what are we doing?
Given we're doing a radio show, but it does remind me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
And we're about to have our 100th edition. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. I think it's not bad. I mean, we've done 100 episodes, Carol, and we haven't fallen out yet.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mostly because I don't listen to a word that you say.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, in which the delightful Carol McGiffin and I try to solve people's problems while maintaining a straight face and failing on all counts. Now, there's one that's just hit the internet. Have you seen the internet? Oh, the stuff you'll see on there.
Disgusting.
The internet. If you've got one in your area, then you should definitely take a peek. You'll find the podcast in it. And there is an episode that's just gone up there, which is a right laugh. There's going to be one on Monday as well. We've already done it, and it's going to get squirted up the internet on Monday. And that'll be the last one before Christmas. And then we'll go away for a couple of weeks. And when we come back, oh, boy, will we be refreshed. As in...
booze.
Exactly. So if you want us to have a bash at your issue, then send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com. That's NICKANDCAROL @global.com, and prepare for instant satisfaction. But later. So there's going to be one on Monday, and then a couple of weeks off, and then we'll come back with our 98th... I think it's going to be our 99th episode we'll come back with, and then it'll be the 100th episode special. All it takes is to ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? Or just do an internet search on my name, Nick Abbott, podcasts, and it will all become clear as though by magic. Jason says... Oh, no, read that. I'm doing very well. Already I'm ahead. Matt says... It's a pity the Lib Dems can't put more effort into winning over neglected Labour-held seats whose MPs couldn't care less about bank and shop closures. Well, it's a bit vague, Matt. Where are you talking about, specifically? And what can MPs do about bank closures? I mean, you can't force a bank to keep a branch open. Nobody goes into a bank branch anymore. Last time I went into a bank branch, it was as though it had been taken over by... hippies. I mean, there wasn't anybody behind the counter at all. In fact, I don't think there actually was a counter. Have you been to a bank lately? They don't look like banks anymore. They look like the airport lounge in a small town's airport. That's two uses of the word airport in one sentence. They look like the lounge in, like Huddersfield's International Airport. Terrible. Cheap sofas and then just this array of cash machines where you can do everything. Oh, those robots are fantastic.
Affirmative.
And they were in the gloom, because they're pretty badly lit, in the gloom in a corner was, I assume, somebody who was working there, or maybe they just come in from the cold. It was just a couple of kids playing video games. And that's who's manning the tills in banks these days. That's where the money is, honey. So what's the point in keeping those open, because nobody goes in them anymore? Duncan texts, UKIP got 300-odd votes. I didn't even think they were a thing. What have they still got to be whining about?
Whinging and whining and moaning.
UKIP got 300-odd votes. Odd votes?
We've got a few idiots in our party.
If you say so, Nige. Right, Dagenham. Hello, Ian.
Hello, yes, I think of one positive thing. We've just signed that incredible and fake deal with our neighbours, near neighbours, Australia.
Australia, yes. We'd have to get in Elon Musk's space rocket and leave the planet to get further away.
And we have to, and we're going to import all their meat and screw our farmers, basically.
Right.
And it's going to be very eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly, yeah.
To
import stuff from the other side of the planet, yeah.
The other side of the planet, really.
Yeah, on the other hand, British farmers knew what they were voting for when they voted for Brexit. Apparently they wanted to hasten their ruination. Seems an odd thing to want, but, they know best. All right, Thanks a lot, Ian. I've just looked it up. In economic terms, the huge and tremendous trade deal that we just signed with Australia. Have we actually signed it yet, or is it? Are we? These are our intentions. If we get everything that we want from Australia, then British people will be better off by, get ready, grip onto something firm, by £1 a year per household. £1 per year per household. That's not even each. That's how much we're going to be saving with this huge and tremendous trade deal with Australia. £1 per year per household. It's going to increase the size of our economy by 0.02%.
Oh, fabulous.
Over 15 years. It's going to take 15 years and increase the size of our economy by 0.02% over 15 years. Next. Bristol. Hello, Rose.
Hello, Nick Abbott. I haven't really listened. Hello, can you hear me?
No.
You can't hear me?
No.
All right. Goodbye, then.
Oh, okay. No, that was much easier than I expected it was going to be.
Bye-bye.
Pat tweets, "Hey, Nick, with stunning reversals and losses for the regime lately, I have to point out that they scored a huge hat-trick. Over the last 11 years, they have given us the 3 worst PMs in post-war history. Somebody tell Dominic Raab so he can point that out on telly." Tetchy, angular, humanoid, Dominic Deckchair Raab is going to point out nothing of the sort. Phil tweets, "Please can we start the A to Z of 2021 tonight, just so that I can have B for Jeffrey Bastard." Oh, go on, says Phil. No, Phil.
No.
No, the A to Z of 2021 starts on Christmas Eve at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock sharp. Hey, I drove by Big Ben tonight and it said that the time was midnight or noon. Both hands were pointing at 12. Now, there was an episode of Captain Scarlet, and maybe some of you will remember it. You remember the Captain Scarlet? I bet my glamorous assistant remembers Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons.
I've got no clue.
He's got no idea what I'm talking about. He's 12 years old. Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. You want to educate yourself, mate. This stuff's important. Yeah, they were by Big Ben, pretty sure it was that clock. And it rang 13, which meant that the Mysterons were... I've got no idea, I can't remember anything about it, but I do remember it being a thing. So it's probably the end of times, isn't it? It's a sign. Maybe it's a sign to everybody in that place that the game's up and it's time to dash to the airport. It said midnight. Big problem, huge. George tweets, "Boris Johnson thinks just saying Brexit still works. The magic spell has worn off." Yeah, it absolutely has. I mean, Bodger Johnson took defeat with the grace that we have come to expect from him. Of course, he placed all the blame on himself. No, he said it was our fault. He complained that voters and the media have been focusing on sleaze and Partygate rather than Omicron. I'm not sure that if we focus on his response to the virus, which has resulted in the worst death rate coupled with the worst economic disaster in Europe, it's going to be better for him. Maybe he should want us to be focusing about something else. Maybe we could focus on his record for honesty and trustworthiness. The PM said he is responsible for everything the government does. And in the next breath, blamed everyone on earth except himself for everything the government does. Why can't we just accept that he is special? Why can't we just let him do what he wants? Why do we have to question him? Boris the Magnificent. Hey, Budge.
Stop whining.
He whined about the press coverage of the stories about sleaze and the lockdown breaches and the parties in Downing Street. He did not mention the constant lies, the broken promises, the billions funneled into the pockets of friends and donors, the stench of corruption that hovers over this regime like flies over horses' bottoms.
Disgusting.
Maybe you'd like to talk about that, Bodge. He complained that people were not hearing what he had to say on the people's own priorities. They keep trying this, don't they? The people aren't interested in this. The people say, well, actually, we are. No, you're not. He said, why do you people have to keep thinking about everything bad about me and my autocratic rule? Why can't you think about sunshine and rainbows? He said, you wait till that crime and sentencing bill gets made law and it'll be 51 weeks in jail for every last one of you. He didn't say that. He said, if I may say respectfully, Omicron is a very serious threat to us now, and we should be concentrating on that. Right. No, Bodge, you should be concentrating on that. Leave us to rue our mistake in voting for that funny bloke off the telly. Whatever happened to him, by the way? Senior Conservatives have been venting fury at the PM after the Lib Dems took the True Blue stronghold by a margin of 6,000 people. And the result of their fury? What I've written here is, and the reason Tehran venting fury is they are concerned for the health of the nation. Does that make any sense?
No.
Well, I can't figure out what it is that's supposed to mean. The reason that they are venting their fury is that they are concerned for the health of the nation. Oh, sarcasm. No, the reason that they're fuming is because at the next election, we poor dopes who pay taxes might sack the lot of them. That's why they're angry. The time on the gravy train may be up. See, North Shropshire had previously only ever had Tory MPs, and its voters overwhelmingly backed Brexit in the 2016 referendum. And as the farmers' food lies rotting in the fields and animals are killed and thrown away because EU workers aren't here anymore after Brexiters yelled at them to get out of our country for 5 years. Hey, how's that decision working out for you, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
And the contest was, of course, triggered by the resignation of ex-Minister Owen Paterson after a disastrous attempt from the Bodge to save him from that so typical a Tory story, a lobbying scandal. They're all about the money, honey. And the seat was lost with one of the largest by-election swings in British electoral history, 34 percentage points. I knew if we waited long enough, some people would come to their senses. I just didn't expect it of the good people of North Shropshire. Asked where he had been going wrong, Bodger insisted he had been unable to focus on issues that voters care about. He said, basically, what's been going wrong is that in the last few weeks, some things have been going very well, but what the people have been hearing is just a constant litany of stuff about politics and politicians and stuff that isn't about them and isn't about the things that we can do to make life better. And so to that extent, of course, you're right. And I think you, as in the interviewer, who didn't say any of this, he's just co-opting him into his, into his little scheme. And to that extent, I think the job of the government is to make people like you, the TV interviewer, interested in the booster rollout and in skills and in housing and in everything else that we're doing. And unfortunately, says Boris Johnson, we haven't been able to get the focus on those issues. In other words, it weren't me. I ain't done nothing. It's all the nasty public's fault for not understanding how truly marvellous I am. God, he really is like a naughty, plump little schoolboy who's been caught with his hands in the biscuit tin and complains that it's mean of anyone to accuse him of stealing biscuits because we should be concentrating on how he wasn't caught doing anything yesterday. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC.
I don't like that kind of talk. Now just stop it. It upsets me.
Here's a caller in Greenwich, Carol.
Hello, good evening, Nick.
Perfect for the time of year. Carol.
How are you? I know. Yeah, good evening. I just wanted to say that, Boris has to go, without a doubt. and hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. But I also want to say to you, Nick, that I think you owe an apology to all the homeless people, because about 5 callers ago you actually said that. So I'm hoping you will just give that apology and we can move on.
Yeah, I said that with a mask on, Boris Johnson actually manages to look even worse than he normally does. He looks like a homeless person, for which I apologise.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
That is a fulsome apology there, Carol.
Do you know what? That has really made my day. Thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate that.
All right, thanks a lot, Carol. Cheers, my dear. It was Carol at Jesus' birthday time. Hey, by the way, if you haven't... I know I'm not supposed to say this, so stop listening to me for the next 10 seconds. But have you listened to Classic FM lately? Oh, at this time of year, it is just so Christmassy. If you want to slip your brain into neutral and just have a really peaceful, festive moment, I recommend it. I love it. Archie tweets, Moscow Metro Underground is way better and bigger than London and beautiful too. Yeah, but it's in Moscow though, Archie. Charlie tweets, Seoul, as in Seoul. Seoul has the longest underground train system in the world, not us. Yeah, but it's in Seoul. Barry tweets, between storms and variants, I think we're safe for every letter of the Christmas A to Z, the A to Z of 2021. When does it start, says Barry? I'm glad you asked. It starts at 10 p.m. on Friday, Christmas Eve. So I'll do my... I'm here at the normal time with an abnormal show. And the excitement is rising. It's an excellent game, and I recommend that you play. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, you well?
Yes, very good, thanks.
Good. Couple of Brexit things. They slipped it under the radar this week. We've actually given the French all the fishing licences that they wanted.
Another Brexit win.
Yeah. So now we can be happy that all the fish that are much happier for being British are going to get caught in the French net.
Are French, yeah.
But anyway, do you remember Gove saying about Brexit time, the country's sick of experts?
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, it's been taken out of context, but yes, I do remember him saying that.
Well, at the start, after Whitty and Johnson's presentation the other day, did you see Joe Morrissey? Her of everyone should have a portrait of the Queen in her house fame.
Yes.
She came out and said that Whitty ought to shut up because policy should be decided not by experts, but by MPs and the Prime Minister.
Yeah, we no longer wish to be ruled by the unelected elite. And then she remembered, perhaps a little later on, that she, as you described, wanted everybody to have a picture of the ultimate unelected elite person on Earth, Her Majesty the Queen.
But do you realise who she actually replaced, what we've got now with her? She replaced Dominic Green.
Right.
So the standards are slipping somewhat. But anyway, you know what you were saying about Boris and the Sam Kurtz interview before the break? About his whining and everything, and bits and pieces. Well, Ben Kentish was on, I think it was Eddie earlier on, and he'd been talking to some backbench Tory MPs after that interview, and he said they were absolutely incandescent, furious that, again, he hadn't taken responsibility and said, yes, the people in Downing Street are my responsibility. It appears something's wrong. I'll take control of this. I'm sorry for what's happened. But he just evaded it. And apparently these backbench MPs are absolutely furious with him, which is... They're the ones that can do something about it.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? They're going to chuck him out, and then it's going to be Liz Truss. Does anybody think that she's a vote winner? No.
So what we've got, though, is who's running the Conservative Party at the minute. If you think whoever gets elected, unless they're from the ERG, or now it is the CRG, but whoever gets elected is a puppet, because they're actually wagging the whole thing. Johnson isn't in control. I mean, not anymore.
I mean, if you really want to be alarmed, if it is going to be Liz Truss, then look at that video of her presenting to, God, I can't even remember who it is. I retweeted it. It's just absolutely incredible. Because most people won't have very much experience of Liz Truss. They won't have experience of her oeuvre. She's just... She stood on stage and she said something of the order of, I won't rest until British apples are back at the top of the tree. And then she paused and threw the most gormless-looking smile of expectation in want of an audience response, of which there was none. I cannot believe the standard that we're at in this country now. I mean,
she stands no chance because she started a career as a Liberal, then she was a Remainer. Well, given that the MPs select the last two that go before the party, she ain't going to be one of the two because neither of them fit with Baker and everything else. I mean, it just isn't going to happen.
Well,
whoever they pick, it won't be her. The MPs, don't forget, decide the last two. So it looks like Raab or whoever, or even Steve Baker might stand
Tetchy, angular humanoid, Dominic Deckchair Raab is not a vote winner either. I mean, no. Bodge won by being the soft, cuddly teddy bear candidate. That the nice. He's the nice Conservative, and so don't be frightened. Don't be afraid. Vote for me. Look at me. I'm so unthreatening. That's his whole thing. Whereas actually he isn't what he purports to be at all, and we're some of us more quickly than others are finding out that's true. But they're going to have to replace him with somebody who can win an election, and it ain't Dominic Raab.
And look what happened in Shropshire. There's been Labour socialist purists on the radio today coming on saying we need rid of Starmer because look how few votes we got in Shropshire. Well, what actually happened was they cooperated with the Liberals, didn't run a big campaign, and lo and behold, when the left doesn't fight each other... Bingo, you can get somewhere. And they're on saying, Starmer's got to go because our vote dropped. And I don't care that the Liberals... Well, they were saying we're glad that Tories got beat, but they didn't have the gumption to think that if we pull together, we can get rid of the Tories. And it was one after another came on saying, the Labour Party is a disgrace at the moment, we're not polling well.
Yeah. I think that people on the left are almost addicted to losing. They seem to, at any given juncture, fashion a way of losing while maintaining an air of purity. They fight with each other over who is the most pure standard bearer, and refuse to work with anybody who is anything less than totally perfect, which means that they don't work with anybody. And so they fashion themselves a loss over and over and over again. The right wing, that they just can't believe their luck, that their major opponents are so self-defeating.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
Peter texts, the two recent storms were named by the Irish Meteorological Service because they crossed Ireland before reaching the UK. I thought that all storms crossed Ireland before reaching the UK. Don't they all come from the west? Isn't the wind predominantly from the west? The wind? Let's ask a wind expert.
I know a lot about wind.
He knows a lot about wind. And about the virus.
I'm not a doctor.
He's not a doctor, but he does know viruses.
This, whatever they want to call it, you can call it a germ, you can call it a flu, you can call it a virus, you can call it many different names. I'm not sure anybody even knows what it is.
He's not sure that anybody even knows what it is.
What do I know about it? All I know is what's on the internet. I know nothing.
0345 6060 973. I could sit here playing that all night long. Still not missing you, Donny. Michael texts, you could argue that the vaccine rollout was quicker given Brexit. To clarify, he says, I am a Remain voter. Never mind. You could argue that the vaccine rollout was quicker given Brexit, but you would be wrong in that case. It has nothing to do with Brexit. We could, within the EU, have rolled the vaccine out at the precise same speed that we did, and do. Has zero to do with it. Amazing that people still believe that stuff. I mean, one piece of misinformation goes around the world, they slap it on the internet, and people read it, and they think, oh, yeah, that's right. That chimes with my prejudices. I'm going to believe that from now until the end of time, regardless of any new information that comes my way. The internet is an evil thing. Evil, I tell you. Oh, well, just look at that moon-faced creep who runs it. Steve texts, I'm a massive remainder. Really? You're a remainder. He says, but the vaccine programme has been a big benefit of leaving. Oh, God, not another one. Hello? Is this thing on? A vaccine programme has had nothing to do with leaving the European Union. Being in or out of the European Union was and is not an impediment to rolling out the vaccine any old way you want. Zero rules about that. Dan texts, the one main positive thing from Brexit, Nigel Farage has been quiet for a while. Yeah. Oh, OK, I'll give you that one.
I'm a nutcase.
Thanks a lot, Nigel. We appreciate everything that you've done.
I'm immensely grateful to you for everything you've done in British politics over the last few years. I used to be an ardent Remainer. I voted Remain. I believed in the European project. Mm-hmm. I believed that staying in the European Union was the best thing for us. And then something happened, and something monumental happened. It completely changed my opinion on the whole situation.
What was that monumental thing, Mark?
I was kicked in the head by a horse.
Right, very good. OK, fine. Thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. Leicester. Hello, David.
Hello, Nick. I've got a question for you. You know how every day they tell us that X thousands of people have tested positive for coronavirus. For example, today is about 90,000.
Right.
There's no perspective on it, because if they've only tested, say, if they tested 100,000 people, that would have been 90% have tested positive.
Yes.
If they tested 1 million people, that would mean there'd be 9% tested positive. Or if they tested 10 million people, it'd be less than 1% tested positive.
Right.
So I can't see the point of not telling us the full story. Your research, your producer said you can probably find it online, which is the case, but why don't the media report how many tests were done and how many tests were positive? Surely that would be a better way.
I completely concur, yes. The media are run by, unfortunately, they're not run by robots.
Correct.
They're run by human beings, and human beings are a lazy type, and they will do the absolute minimum possible that they can get away with while still getting paid. And so journalists, they'll just receive the information from Her Majesty's government, and they'll just copy and paste it, and then find that their work is done for the day. They'll put their feet up and smoke a cigar.
Yeah, and another thing, sorry, I didn't mention
and another
this
thing, yes.
Yeah, you know, the French have banned banned Britons from going to France because of the moronic Omicron variant.
Yeah. Oh, my cron, we're all going to die, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Why haven't the French banned the French from coming to Britain?
I don't know. Good question. Maybe they like the punishment. I've got no idea.
Yeah, we could stop all the dinghy divers if they brought that ban in, couldn't we?
Right, but they're not French, though.
Neither, probably most of the people. French.
No actual French people are pushing off from the coast of France to get here by dinghy. They'll come by plane. It's a much more comfortable ride, I think you'll find. Either plane or a train, one of those methods. Anyway, thanks a lot, Dave. So back at Bodge HQ, he was conducting interviews today, and he was not feeling his best. Pressed on how he will avoid repeats of damaging rows, such as over the Downing Street parties and the funding of refurbishing his Grace and Favour flat, and Grace and Favour means free, of course. Free to those that can afford it, very expensive to those that can't. He says, the quiz master was saying, how are you going to, avoid all of these scandals? A visibly irritated Bodge said, the real issue people want to focus on is what we are doing to sort out the NHS, the investment we are putting in to get us through a very tough time, and what we are doing to tackle the pandemic. Talk about desperate. When asked a question, his answer is that it is the wrong question, and we really should be asking him about something else entirely. The answer to that question on how he will avoid repeats of damaging rows, such as over Downing Street parties and the funding of refurbishing his Grace and Favour flat, is he wouldn't do it again. That's the answer to that question. And he's sorry for thinking that he could get away with it in the first place, and he's going to make it up to us. That's the answer. Instead, he's whining about being quizzed on those things in the first place.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
It's so totally him. And Trump as well. I mean, Trump has not gone away. His shadow lingers longer in the Conservative Party. Pretty much everything they do is what would Donald Trump do? I mean, there's a letter that you've probably read that Bodge's housemaster at Eton wrote to his father when Bodge was a teenager at that school. And it was about Bodge and his attitude. And it's pretty much all you need to know about the dear leader. It read, Boris sometimes seems affronted when criticised for what amounts to a gross failure of responsibility, and surprised at the same time that he was not appointed captain of the school for next half. I think he honestly believes it is churlish of us not to regard him as an exception, one who should be free of the network of obligation which binds everyone else. Bingo! That's what his housemaster wrote about him at school. And he's got the same hairstyle as when he was at school, same attitude as well. He hasn't changed a bit. Meanwhile, a series of old duffers with wild, hairy eyebrows slimed their way through television interviews today to express their outrage. Not for the country, but for their own prospects at the next election. Every single one of them was sitting way too close to their own webcam. I mean, could you sit another couple of feet away, gentlemen? We're trying to eat here. And Sir this said, Pah! And Lord the other said, Pah! One MP for a key northern seat warned that Johnson had to recognise the public have moved on from Brexit. He said, it shows Brexit is no longer a relevant conversation in politics. Yeah, oh no you don't. It is a relevant conversation. And it will continue to be until those promises that the Leave lot made come true. You don't get to turn the country round and steam off in the wrong direction, making us all poorer and lowering our prospects and making this country smaller and less significant, and then tell us to forget it when you get found out.
No, 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 no.
If you told us we were sailing to the sun-kissed beaches of Hawaii, and all along nautical experts said you were heading in the wrong direction, and we arrive on the icy shores of Antarctica, you don't get to tell us that that's where you meant to go all along, and you're now renaming the South Pole as Honolulu. The regime sold us Brexit and called it heaven. They should be reminded of that every day that it isn't. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC.
Yes, it's about mottled bread. Barra Brith, says Lee, is... Andy, rather. Barra Brith is a Welsh fruit bread. Very tasty, especially while watching questionable Japanese manga. Yeah, not safe for work.
Disgusting.
Dried mixed fruit, brown sugar, a pint of warm black tea, mixed spice, self-raising flour, and one free-range egg. Beaten. Yeah, it's quite nice actually. It's it's like fruit bread. Fruit bread. What do you call it? Like bread with fruit in it. Toasted with dripping with butter, like great globules of butter dripping off the side of it. Lovely. Lee says, you don't think Boris is going to declare the count was fixed and demand a recount, do you? Well, I would not be surprised. But he did actually say that everything that he didn't want us to think about and he didn't want the media to report was fake news. That's pretty much what he said. Oh, the public aren't interested in that, he said, despite the fact that the public are very interested in it. Everything is fake news. Regent's Park. Hello, Vance.
Hi, just very briefly, Nick. Your caller asked whether the French government has banned its own citizens from travelling to the UK. In the Times today, they say France has... the French government also told its citizens to postpone trips to the UK. I don't know how strong that is, but that was reported in the Times today.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll leave that with you. I normally call on Saturdays, so I'll call you tomorrow.
Well, I shall look forward to that. Thanks a lot, Vance.
Bye.
Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Chris says, interesting how Tory contributors like Sue. Who's Sue? Maybe this is in reference to a caller I had some while ago. I don't know. I don't listen to this show. Interesting how Tory contributors like Sue want the media to move on and look at the dead cat. If Labour were in power, they'd be relishing all the media coverage of utter hypocrisy, says Chris. Okay. I don't pretend to understand all of that. I understood a bit of it, but not all of it. David texts, Nigel told me I would get better wages as a lack of Labour leads to higher wages. James O'Brien told me the fat cats would just keep more money and the workers would not gain anything. My salary in 2029 was 48,000. My salary in 2021 was 72,000. Pays to be a trucker, says David. Yeah, I've talked to truckers about these supposed massive wage increases, and the answer has always been, well, I don't know what you're talking about because it hasn't happened to me. But good luck to you, David. Jason, and I think that if it has gone up by that amount, it's a temporary measure. I wouldn't bank on it, not if I were you. Jason says, I voted for Boris, but now he just annoys me to see him on the news. He comes across as weak. I think he's doomed after Christmas. Who next, though? Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I don't know very much about Liz Truss other than what I've seen of her on the internet and her giving speeches. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. Mind you, she's the Foreign Secretary now. Yeah, that seems to be a joke job now, doesn't it? Foreign Secretary, because Bodge was Foreign Secretary before. How did you do in that job, Bodge? Yeah. When Theresa May made him Foreign Secretary, I thought that it was as punishment. Because I assumed that, Bodge wanted to be, lying on a chaise, having perfumed ointment rubbed in his temples while mega-boobed maidens would feed him grapes. I expect that that's pretty much the idea of what, he grew up thinking was going to happen when he became leader of the world. Didn't really work out that way, did it, Bodge?
No.
Not really. And so I thought that Theresa May was punishing him because I imagine that the work of the Foreign Secretary would be to constantly be on a red-eye flight to some godforsaken hellhole with about 3 feet of paperwork to get through before you landed. But I don't actually think that that's the job at all. Is it, in fact, a job at all, being Foreign Secretary? I mean, you'd think that, being our chief diplomat would mean that you'd have to have certain qualities. Well, what qualities do both Liz Truss and Boris Johnson possess? Any ideas? Answers on a postcard to the following address. Heather says, I understand Case is off the case because he was party to a party. What's the world coming to? What is your party advice to Bodger this Christmas, says Heather. Well, Bodge himself has been accused of attending yet another party.
What?
Believe it or not. This time it was just a month after his own battle with COVID during the nation's first lockdown, when he was taking it on the chin. Yeah, how did that go for you, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, this was on May the 15th, 2020, and we were all locked up indoors. Do you remember back that far? We were, of course, forbidden from such shenanigans when the Prime Minister reportedly joined up to 20 members of Downing Street staff inside and in the gardens of Number 10 during a celebration that featured beer, wine, pizza, beer and wine.
Booze.
Exactly. Hours earlier, the then Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, hosted a press conference in which he revealed that 384 people had died of COVID. Then he headed off to Downing Street Gardens for a debrief with the Prime Minister. At that gathering, Bodger Johnson allegedly told one civil servant who was drinking alcohol that he deserved his drink for his work in helping beat back the virus, reports the Independent newspaper. Beat back the virus? What, the virus that's still running amok throughout the country? That virus? Blimey, everyone must get prizes. Sources indicated those in attendance had planned celebratory drinks in advance of the event, with alcohol being poured at desks and staffers staying late into the night. The Independent says that there is no suggestion that Mr. Johnson or Mr. Hancock drank alcohol or stayed late. Well, they don't seem the type, do they? To drink alcohol and stay up late. Not that type, eh? I mean, Bodger never looks like he's hungover from spending the night in a skip. At the time of the latest alleged infraction, the mixing of multiple households indoors was banned, and groups could only meet one-on-one in outdoor settings. It seems so long ago, doesn't it? When people were being fined for walking through a park holding a coffee because the police said that they were having a picnic. Meanwhile, this was going on. Like the last days of Rome over at Downing Street. It's the latest in the long-running saga of Downing Street being accused of hosting a string of lockdown-busting parties in spite of the draconian restrictions that they themselves set. You know, and I was listening to some Conservative politician whining on about, oh, why are you picking on us? Everybody else was doing it too, you know. That's essentially their... I mean, they've gone through the whole gamut of, no, it didn't happen. No.
No.
And then, well... OK, if it happened, then we weren't breaking any rules when we were doing it. And now well, everyone was doing it too. That's irrelevant if other people were doing it as well. Other people, including Labour MPs, weren't writing up the rules to stop the rest of us doing it under threat of being investigated by the law. Yeah, well, everyone else was doing it. God, that's where we're at now in this country. God, and it only took 2 short years of you-know-who.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And this is where we are now. Blimey. And it's all the media's fault for reporting it. And it's all the public's fault for thinking about it. God, you just wait till Priti Patel hears that you've all been thinking about forbidden subjects. She is going to set about you, and no mistake. Heather says, oh no, I read that. Simon Case. Oh God, shall I get into that now? It's just absolutely priceless. Have you heard the latest about the person that was going to investigate the parties? I mean, if you hadn't heard it, what would be your first guess? Correct! I'll get into that in a minute. Stuff that's been going on, it's just... I don't recognise this country anymore. Do you? Niall texts, can you tell me what the Lib Dems stand for? No, not really. Well, can you tell me what the Conservatives stand for? low tax, small government, not interfering in our lives, pro-business. I mean, what do the Conservatives stand for? I mean, who are they anymore? I think, like Trump and the Republican Party, Boris Johnson has taken over the Conservative Party. It might not be a complete and total takeover like Trump with the Republicans, but probably for the very good reason that we have fewer of the certain type of person that votes for a Donald Trump. There's fewer dingalings. But, I mean, who else would take his place? Who else has got that charisma, that, ability to reach the parts that other politicians can't? It ain't Liz Truss, and it's not Dominic Raab. Ken Clarke would probably not be interested in the job. Who's left? Let's get Theresa May back. Actually, she sounds prime ministerial by comparison, doesn't she? Anybody sounds prime ministerial. All of the previous prime ministers who are currently with us sound prime ministerial. They sound like they've got gravitas. I mean, okay, Tony Blair is widely disliked, but at least he's not the bodge. And Gordon Brown is he practically seems like a world statesman compared to this catastrophic clown show that we've got running the shop over here now. Darius text, positive thing from Brexit. Oh, okay, here we go. I threw that out about an hour ago, and I got one call sarcastically saying that the trade deal with Australia was going to do great things for us. I mean, he didn't believe it because it's not true. I'll give you the figure again. Our huge and tremendous trade deal with Australia is going to improve our cash position by £1 per year per household. And other than that, nothing. Oh, a couple of people were misinformed about the vaccine rollout. They still buy that old line about us not being able to roll out the vaccines in the manner in which we did if we were still in the European Union, which is incorrect information. But other than that, no one. So let's see what this one says. Darius text, positive thing from Brexit. Conservative Party is exposed, or at least hopefully it will be. It's also quite entertaining, like watching the opposition score lots of own goals in football. One own goal is painful, but 143 might be numbing and funny. Funny. See, that's what we want from politics now. Humour. Niall says, oh no, I read that. What do the Lib Dems stand for? No idea. I actually don't know. I mean, if my life depended on it, I don't know. But then again, as I said, I don't know what the Conservative Party stands for anymore either, other than themselves. We stand for money. Nick tweets, Australia just sold their port to China, so we will be paying a levy to them. Yeah, you could take the Chevy to the levy, and I can't remember how the rest of it goes. Get the Carpenters on the phone, and they'll sing that for us right now. Rock and roll! They're not picking up? Keep trying. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 11:30.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
Donna texts, one good thing that came from the whole Brexit thing, it means we don't have to look at David Cameron's smooth, smug, bleeping face on my television anymore. Yeah, but we do have Smug's smooth face.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Yeah. Painful. Still not missing you, Dave.
I think this is nonsense.
But we know where to find you if we do. You'll be in the shed where they keep the tools. Kate texts, Nick, a blind man on a galloping horse could spot that Jaffa Cake Johnson is an idiot. Unfortunately, he has a brainwashed band of fellow idiots willing to vote for him. Proportional representation is the only way forward. I say put Wales in charge. That's the country, not the big fish. That was a recording of a whale made yesterday. Please don't call and tell me that a whale's not a fish. Unfortunately, says Kate, he has a brainwashed band of fellow idiots.
I love the poorly educated.
Yeah, him and Donny both. 0345 6060 973. Hey, you know that the Met Police has announced that it's going to be investigating yet another party over at you-know-where. What? I'll get into that in a minute. God, the stuff that's going on is absolutely incredible. Edinburgh, hello, Al.
Hi.
Al.
Just was thinking one thing. You know how when Bodge did his address last Sunday, and he was looking very, authoritative and all that sort of thing, even though he said absolutely nothing. There was something that was a bit emblematic, I think, is when the US president does it from the Oval Office behind his substantial, authoritative presidential desk that your producer said was called Resolute.
Yeah.
When the Guardian published their front page picture, instead of the picture being like everyone else took it, which was very zoomed in, the Guardian's picture was zoomed out so that actually it wasn't a really serious presidential desk. It was more like a rickety card table. It just looked like it was going to fall apart and he was going to wear, I don't know, clown outfit beneath it. So,
Well, it looked like it might fall apart, and so does he.
Yes. And the other thing I was going to say, can we stop politicians starting a sentence with the word look?
Oh, I thought you were going to say so.
Well, yes, that would be quite good.
Yeah.
Anyway, they wouldn't be able to talk.
Yeah, look, okay, so no. Thanks a lot, Al. 0345 6060 973. Starting a sentence with the word so or look.
If you do the numbers, so just...
There you go, see? So, doing the numbers with Zaphod.
And 2,
3,
6 million.
No! Oh, way out. I do my best, but will they listen? Pat says, I was about to suggest that Bodger is as thick as mince, but I think that would insult mince. Do the cabinet socially distance when they share the one brain cell? Well, Pat, that's just being rude. You shouldn't be rude.
Be polite.
Jim says, shouldn't it be... this is referring to a farmer's name, which I think I said it plenty enough times at the beginning of the show. I won't say it again. I won't. You can't make me. But it will be available on the World Wide Web. You know, as soon as this show is over, or near enough, it gets squirted up the internet as a podcast. We take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity, and you won't have to start up an OnlyFans site to pay your fuel bill. Ask for it by name on an internet near you, Nick Abbott, the whole show. Because, around about this time of night, it's entirely possible that your eyelids may be drooping. Wake up! So you don't have to miss it. You can catch it any time you like. You can listen to me in the morning. You can listen to it in the afternoon. You can listen to it. You can listen to last week's now, while I'm actually on live. You can listen to last week's and then listen to this week's next week. Does that make sense?
No.
It's all on the app that we have. The app is called a Global Player. And it's got everything that we do here. It's got all the radio stations, Heart and Capital and X and Smooth and Chill. Groovy. And there's loads. And Classic FM. I love Classic FM at Christmas. I don't care who knows it. I love it. And it's all on the app, Global Player. which is also stuffed full to the gills of podcasts, in amongst which the 3 that I do, and I am assured by my glamorous assistant, am I not, that this show will get put up almost as soon as it's finished, yes?
Almost as soon as
it's finished. Ask for it by name, Nick Abbott, the whole show, or you just do an internet search on my name, Nick Abbott, and podcasts, and all 3 will come up. Let's have a call in Wanstead. Oh, Sophie.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm great, mate.
LBC's kept me going while I've been ill this week, so I really appreciate it.
You've been ill?
Stop whining.
I'm much better today, though.
What's been wrong with you?
I've had a very bad cold, amongst other things.
Now, how do you know it was a cold?
Oh, no, don't. I'm too scared to find out. I've been stuck in the flat for 5 days, so
right.
I've been socially distancing and I haven't done anything irresponsible.
Well, then you do not get to run this country. You fail this interview to be the next Prime Minister of this country.
Yeah, I think he needs to graduate from Bojo to Bozo now. I think I've had enough.
Now, wait a minute. Can we go back and talk about your cold? It's very unusual for somebody to isolate if they've only got a cold. I mean, that makes me suspicious.
No, what I meant was I didn't test myself because I haven't left the building.
Right. Because you didn't test yourself because you didn't want to know what the result might be.
That's so true. I was a bit worried. So I thought I'd rather not know, but I'm fine now.
Right. But see, now that would be a good thing. If you hang on a minute, if you've actually caught it and you come through it and it's no big deal, then that's a good thing, right?
This is true. I wonder if I can test myself and find out if I did have the have the big V.
Yes. All you need is one of those lateral flow tests and a time machine.
Yeah, I think that's not too much to ask.
We wouldn't think so. Not in 2021, for crying out loud. How long do we have to wait for one of those things?
Exactly. But I phoned up about QAnon and Trump Jr., but I will say quickly...
What's happened now?
Well, I never, ever, ever thought I'd say this. But on a very serious note, before I say that, I'm absolutely appalled, disgusted and revolted at how the government are behaving. And I'm not making it political. I'm just saying with people who have lost loved ones to carry on like they are in such an irresponsible way. I just think they're laughing at us now.
Carry on.
Need to go.
Carry on regardless. Yeah.
Exactly, but not in a good way.
But for those who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, who want just because the Conservative Party have been in power for 11 years. What their greatest trick is their greatest trick is pulling. I can't finish that sentence. Their greatest trick is to convince people that the last 11 years somehow had nothing to do with them. That the only way forward is for the Conservative Party to fix the problems that have been caused in the last 11 years of the Conservative Party.
Exactly. I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore.
It's mystifying. It genuinely is. I just don't get it anymore. Life. Is this real life or am I hallucinating?
Exactly. And that charming, slightly muddled persona that he adopted, I just think people are seeing through it now, and it's just reprehensible. And it started with Donald Cummings. Finally, exactly, even me, and I won't say which way I voted in one of the elections, but even me, it's just terrible. It's just absolutely terrible. And they've pulled the wool over our eyes. But the thing about Donald Trump Jr., did you hear the thing about, I never, ever, ever thought I'd say this, but one of them actually did the right thing for once.
Nonsense.
And sent text to the chief of staff telling him to tell Trump Sr. to call off the riot, which I was quite flabbergasted. And then I started becoming cynical and thinking maybe he did it because he's trying to ingratiate himself with the public. for the next election.
Well, maybe. See, I'm unfamiliar with that story. The first thing that strikes me is maybe he sent that email just to have a public record of his disapproval of a potential coup attempt to take over the United States of America, and he wanted to have some piece of information that says, well, it's got nothing to do with me, Governor.
No, but it was the Sun and those people, the rioters, were supporters of Trump. And
yeah, I know.
The other thing was the QAnon group. Did you hear that they were waiting on the grassy knoll?
Grassy knoll.
On Dealey Plaza, waiting for Kennedy Jr. to come back.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Kennedy Jr. is going to come back on Santa's sleigh. That's what I heard. I read it on Facebook. Must be true.
I do think he's the greatest president America never had, but he's not coming back.
Oh, Kennedy. I thought you were. I thought we were still talking about Donald Trump Jr. Right. Yeah. Okay. You had me concerned just for a brief moment there, Sophie. All right. Thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Dorothy emails. I heard that Nadeem Zahawi is pleading for retired and former teachers to get back into the classroom to make up for teacher shortages due to COVID absences. I wonder if he knows how many teachers are currently in schools and how many vacancies he needs to fill. If only he had some way of counting.
And 1.
Yes.
2.
3.
11.
Oh, close. Getting closer. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
You've got a good, your mind is a little bit, you know what I mean, three-dimensional.
No, I do not know what you mean. Bill emails, being an LBC presenter and therefore an essential worker, are you not exempt from the congestion charge? Well, that is a good point, Bill. This is an essential show. I am an essential worker. Anthony emails, oh, hello, Nick. Thought you'd like to know that Bodger was snapped on a southeastern train this evening, once again with his mask firmly below his mouth, cushioning his chin. But fear not, as this isn't helpful, and any passengers on the train who decide to call this out are simply playing party politics. Perhaps Zaphod has an estimate on the number of dissatisfied passengers. How many dissatisfied passengers are there?
And 1, 2.
Guess again.
11.
About 11 dissatisfied passengers. I want to talk about the oh God, there's just so much to get in. But these people, they keep calling me. How do they get my number? Lewisham. Hello, Hannah.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Hannah.
Now, look, oh, look, we don't like that, do we?
Hannah, you've gone away. Come back again. There you are. Yes.
This goddamn mobile. Now we know, why our country is in such deep doo-doo. It's because the government and its blooming hench people are partying 24/7.
24/7 hours a day. What?
Yeah. on our tax money.
That is 247 hours every day that I'm going to pay. Yeah, on our tax money. Exactly right. Yeah, who's paying for all that stuff? We are. We poor dopes who pay taxes. Exactly.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, is his name Casey? Is his name Case?
Casey Kasem, the American DJ. Hey, no,
this guy who was in charge of the inquiry into the party.
Simon Case.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you very much.
when they chose him, or when Boris picked him, I thought this is going to end in tears, because not one of them has not had a flipping party in that place. Not one of them. I think the safest thing for Boris to do is to get a little 5-year-old, if you can find one, employ this person, he or she, in the government, and put that person in charge, because not one of them is going to not be partying on our money. But the second thing, it's been bugging me for weeks, because I've missed I've missed the reason why you've nicknamed Nadim Zahawi as Zaphod Beeblebrox. Can you please enlighten me?
No, there is no reason other than they both start with Z and both have 2 brains.
Okay. Right. Zahawi. Oh, yeah. I keep thinking his name starts with S, but it's Z, isn't it?
It's a Z, yeah.
Yeah. And do you think...
It's Zahawi with a Z, not Zahawi with an S, because Zahawi with an S goes not Z.
Okay, yeah, it's an S sound. Okay, so do you think it's time now that Boris borrows Zaphod's sunglasses, and I forget what they were called in the book, but they kind of, if you stick them on your nose and eyes, they ward off imminent oncoming death.
Do they? I don't remember that part.
I was going to ask you if you remembered what they were called, because they had a particular name.
No, I do not. I bet somebody does.
Oh yes, please. Could they ring in and remind me?
Oh, please.
He would be like, there would be this mega planet-sized robot coming to kill him.
Yeah.
And
let's call it a Terminator.
Affirmative.
Yes. They were called the Jujanta 200 Super Chromatic Peril Sensitive Sunglasses.
No wonder I couldn't remember it. Okay.
How about that? That's excellent.
I think it's time Boris borrowed them, quite frankly.
Super Chromatic Peril Sensitive Sunglasses. Whenever they detected danger, they made him totally blind so that he didn't panic.
Precisely. Warding off imminent death.
That is excellent.
I think it's time Boris borrowed those glasses off of Zaphod. Yeah. But it's ridiculous, all this party business. I mean, it's so sad.
Sad.
Once they're happy, they're making us sad.
Yeah. Well, of course, I mean, if you get into the actual it of it, it's beyond sad. It's tragic what people went through while these phonies were having a party. They were telling us, don't go out, stay indoors, and people's actual other halves, their wives, their husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, mothers, fathers, passed away, and they couldn't be with them. I mean, it's just beyond awful. But you start to think about that, and the show goes south pretty quick.
Yeah, and I think this is what has done him. In this election, 200 years, it's never changed hands. I can't remember the name of the place.
North Shropshire.
Yeah, I think this is what's done him. They're trying to minimise it, within the party, whoever they put up for the press conferences yesterday.
Yeah, well, the reason that it's been given is because it's our fault for concentrating on the wrong things. I mean, can you believe that? Talk about a sense of entitlement. It's absolutely off the scale with these people.
Well, this is just so Boris, isn't it?
Totally.
It's
up
so
and
typical.
down.
Yeah, it's 100% Boris. I missed out on when he himself came on saying, we've done nothing, is because the media are rousing up the populace against us.
Yeah, it's the media, and it's the media's fault, and it's the public's fault for not, just thinking positive things about the dear leader 24 hours a day.
Yeah, well, that's just... I just cannot believe that he can come out with this, and I want to swear now, come out with this crap.
Hannah, the reason that he does is because his entire life has been he's been gifted everything from birth, and has never really heard the word no. He's just glided through life on this cushioned, perfumed cloud, and can't really comprehend how anybody would have the nerve to stymie him in some way. This is who he is. He's still got the same haircut as he had at school. He's still the same person as he was at school. I read that letter from his master out. People should read that every single day and then try to differentiate the boy from the man. There ain't no difference. He's the same person.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. But today I was just reminded of when he won the election and how calmly all the veterans within the Conservative Party, like Ken Clarke and the Justice Minister, all those older, much more sensible veterans who knew, well, we know what we're in for when we get a Conservative party, and we've had that all the time. But at least those people, those older people, knew they couldn't cross a certain line and get away with it. And they, people like Heseltine didn't want to.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's true, Hannah. I think that in their age we were perhaps more deferential. We knew less. I think that the reason that the it of it has come out, that we see the people behind the mask, is that we know more now. That the news is on 24 hours a day. The internet has made every person on earth a journalist, and so we know more. I very much doubt that any of the people that you're describing would have come through with an unbesmirched reputation had they been in power now.
Yeah, no, the point I was trying to make was that it occurred to me, all these veterans, because I'm not saying they were 100%, okay? But
at least they weren't this.
But you know how calmly they went away, and it occurred to me, I thought, these people, they know this is going to end in absolute doo-doo. And they went away really calmly. Do you remember that?
Well, I don't know what you mean by they went away calmly. They didn't really go anywhere. But I feel your pain, Hannah. And don't forget this.
Do not panic! Do not panic! We are trained professionals!
Yeah. You want to pop on your Janta 200 super chromatic peril sensitive sunglasses, because I think you're going to need them.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
Let's get back to it.
Can you believe that? What a story. 2 blokes won £4 million on a scratch card. But they bought the scratch card with somebody else's debit card. And so they will not pass go. They will not collect £4 million. They'll go straight to jail. Wow. Well, fortune gives you and then gives it to you and then takes it away again. Oh, well, never mind. Blimey. I can't believe it. I bet they can't either. Jeremy emails, I bet the French would like to nick that trade deal with Australia from under our nose right at the last minute to get their own back for the submarine deal. The submarine deal. He says, Nigel Farage was banging on about those deals along with the capitulation of the EU under pressure from cheese and chocolate manufacturers and BMW for about 2 years, but forgot to tell the British people that they were only worth twopence halfpenny each. Suckers, says Jeremy. Well, there's a lot of information in there. too much for me to go back over again. But okay then. God, this is a very, very long email. Is this one actually worth reading?
Which one's this? Is this...
John emails.
John's email. I mean, I think it's quite funny.
Well, that sounds like a no. But... I think it's quite funny, but... What do you mean by that? That sounds like a no to me. And furthermore...
No.
Do you mean to say it's a joke?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a joke.
Oh, my God, no. We don't do jokes. John emails, Nick, have you heard about the new TV programme planned to hit our screens starting after Christmas? It's called I'm the Prime Minister, Get Me Out of Here. It's going to start one lonesome, sad, and then it goes on and on and on and on and on. So it's not so much a joke as like
it's more of an elaborate...
A humorous column.
Humorous column, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, John, but we appreciate it.
Thank you.
I might read that later just to see if it's worth reading out on the air. I am a trained professional. Notting Hill. Hello, Sharif.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I'll tell you what, it's been an awful... I've not rung in a while because my daughter's going through leukemia treatment. She's 14. But it's I'm so sick of perpetual amnesia about Boris Johnson. It's like we keep talking about him. He's so irrelevant. He's such a non-entity of a human being.
Well, he's the Prime Minister of this country. He's the most he's the most powerful man in the land.
I don't think you did either.
Huh?
I didn't vote for him. I don't think you did.
Well, never mind. The most of the population of this country did not vote for him, but he's our king anyway.
Listen, he needs to release himself from the legume and just and be gone.
From the legume.
From the vegetables.
Right.
He needs. Honestly, I'm so sick of we're talking about him like some fictional character. Boris. He's a bloody megalomaniac. He's a psychopath.
Well, we don't know that that's true, but it is irritating that people refer to him as almost as though he's a teddy bear, he's a child's stuffed toy. So
he's
cute and cuddly.
Brat. He's a spoiled, self-entitled brat that thinks that he deserves a pass. He has a pseudo-intellectual snobbery about himself. He thinks he can speak a bit of Greek and a bit of Latin. I've got news for him. I can speak both of those. It doesn't mean I'm going to be Prime Minister.
Well, I can barely speak English, but I understand almost every word that you just said.
But it amazes me, honestly.
I wonder if it's the school, because there's a lot of them about, and they're all a bit like that, aren't they? I mean, we've got no end of examples of old Etonians to choose from in the current and recent cabinet, and they all are a bit like that, aren't they?
It's just like completely discombobulated, completely off the wall as human beings. No compassion, no understanding of what it is to actually struggle.
I think that it might not be the school itself that imbues this sort of mentality in them. It might be their outside upbringing that all leads them to be the same kind of person. But I just think that it's not even that they look down their noses at everybody else or they think that they're superior. It's more like everybody else is just a bit of a joke to them because
and they're laughing at us.
Yeah, well, that's true. But they're doing so because we, Muggles, did not have the genius to be born to rich parents. That's where it's at. It's like, we are the little people because our parents aren't rich. To actually, as a sentient being, come to that opinion that you are better than someone because your daddy's got more money than theirs. I mean, and what's worse is that the people of this country actively want to be led by somebody. Well, he forgot where he was just for a moment, though. See, very, very, he's irate. Well, he's on the edge. For, reasons that he started out explaining. And I'm really sorry to hear that, Sheriff, and I hope that your daughter gets all the treatment that she needs and her condition improves. But you can't say that word on this show. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Janet says, Bojo doesn't say Brexit anymore. He's got a new get-out word, booster. Yeah. He's booster, so who would be bleep?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Yeah, that's about right. Bleep and booster. Pete says, shouldn't this trade deal with Australia include them letting us win the Ashes in the cricket? See, I've got no idea what you're talking about. I mean, I do have a fair idea what you're actually talking about, but whether a cricket game is currently going on, I have absolutely no idea, because I am not interested in cricket.
Boring.
Couldn't care less. That may be a controversial opinion to hold, but I'm going to hold it anyway. Archie says, tonight's programme has already been a revelation. Your basis for the truth is Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. What happened in the episode where the Mysterons won a democratic vote on leaving Europe and Captain Scarlet couldn't accept that? What happened in that episode where the Mysterons won a democratic vote on leaving Europe? OK, well, first of all, in Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons, it was never a democratic vote because the Mysterons cheated. They spent too much money and they only got people to vote for them because of a giant library of lies that they told them. That's what happened in Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. So it wasn't democratic at all. It was a cheat. People were cheated into voting in Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. And as for Captain Scarlet not accepting that, he shouldn't accept it any more than anybody should accept when you've been cheated out of something. In Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. Harry tweets, of the 93,045 cases of coronavirus recorded today, only 3,201 cases are of the new Omicron variant. Yet the government is blaming the rise of cases on Omicron. How does this work, says Harry. Harry is thinking for himself. Thinking for yourself gets you 51 weeks jail under the new administration. Let's have Weybridge. Julius.
Evening, Nick. Are you well?
Yes, good, thanks.
All right, good. Nice programme, enjoying it. We've previously spoken about toxoplasmosis in cats and the fiction of the monarchy, but you've almost just destroyed my childhood by using Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons as an allegory, clearly for the political classes, and I feel a bit upset now. It was a fantastic programme,
yes.
and the physics as to how come the driver of the bomb heard the Big Ben chime 13 times.
Yes.
Has stayed with me to this day.
Spooky.
But that's not why I've called you. Now, you've been joking along this evening about the idea that Boris, in fact, let's be clear, he's actually Alexander Kemal, a Turk born in New York City. He's not Prime Minister because we don't have such a role in our Constitution or our statute book. And he should be living at number 10, but he isn't. He's living at number 11 because Carrie wanted a bigger place for her wallpaper. So just to be clear, this is all a fiction.
Right.
But what isn't a fiction is the idea that he's now saying to reporters, you can't ask me those questions, and here's what you need to say.
Yes.
And this is impinging, in my mind, on freedom of expression in a very Kafkaesque manner. And frankly, to some degree, I won't overcook it, it has the makings of fascism behind there.
Right.
But more than that, if you take a look, they're not just saying it. There are, to my way of thinking, at least 3 bills coming through or being presented in Parliament which could impact freedom of speech in this country.
Could.
And the working... Well, possibly will if they haven't got through Parliament yet. There's a bill that is currently in the report stage to do with trying to address cancel culture in higher education, which is going to impact freedom of speech in tertiary education. There's a bill, I don't know how far it's got, but it was to do with the internet and freedom of speech on the internet, so a bill in that regard. And there's also the intention, obviously, to rewrite the Universal Human Rights Act, which will...
Yeah, well, why would humans need rights?
Well, I mean, the fact that they're enshrined in law means, to my mind, they're not rights. But anyway, that's a whole different conversation. But what I'm trying to explain is that, you know, it sounds funny when, you know, you see the exchange between him and a reporter who clearly isn't being allowed to ask the questions that they clearly want to.
You're asking the wrong questions. You should be asking me the questions that I've learned an answer to.
Yeah, but when it becomes actually you can't think or speak for yourselves, and here are the laws going through Parliament that will ensure it, online or in regards to your rights.
And your ability to protest against the regime will be curtailed to the point that you won't be allowed to.
Well, this is why I want to raise it. You know, people need to see it coming down the track, and your show will be right in the crosshairs, frankly.
Well, there's a lot of people who are ahead of me. I would imagine, me being of no consequence whatsoever. But yes, I would imagine that that this program would be flicked away by the regime just as soon as they have the ability to do it. Well, all right, thanks a lot, Julius. Cheers, mate. I've got to go. 0345 6060 973. Early warning signs of fascism. Now, this is something that people mistakenly say is posted up in the Holocaust Museum in New York, but I don't think it is, but I think that they did sell it as a poster or a T-shirt, something like that. So it is, loosely associated with them. Early warning signs of fascism. Let's see if we can't tick some of these off. Powerful and continuing nationalism. Yep. Disdain for human rights. Identification of enemies as a unifying cause. What, those people coming over here? Supremacy of the military. Well, maybe not that one. Rampant sexism. Controlled mass media. Wow, they would absolutely love that and are trying their best in every way to control the few parts of the mass media that aren't already in their corner. Obsession with national security. Yep. Religion and government intertwined. Well, that's always been the case. See the House of Lords for further details. Corporate power protected, you betcha. Labour power suppressed, of course. Disdain for intellectuals and the arts. Obsession with crime and punishment. Rampant cronyism and corruption. Who, us? And fraudulent elections. So I think the only one that we haven't got yet is supremacy of the military. That's the only one that we haven't ticked off so far. We're all in great danger. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
LBC.
So, all right, then I'll read this email from John. It's an extremely long email. You want to get yourself comfortable. Hi, Nick. Have you heard about the new TV programme planned to hit our screens starting after Christmas? It's called I'm the Prime Minister, Get Me Out of Here. It's going to star one lonesome, sad and unfortunately useless individual who will have to endure a number of different trials each week. First, there will be the missing PPE trial, followed by the lockdown care home trial, followed by the sack Matt Hancock trial, followed by the contact tracing, Followed finally by the No Christmas Parties trial. It's said to be a real favourite for millions of unhappy members of the public. Ant and Dec have even offered to host it. I just wonder who the lucky contestant is going to be. Who's it going to be, Bodge? Think. Janet says, Bojo doesn't say Brexit anymore. He's going to boost to you. I read that one. Sue says, does Boris know he can purchase Peppa Pig face masks? A Peppa Pig face mask. If he did, he might wear them more often. I'm sure the good pig farmers of Shropshire could buy him some, says Sue.
Peppa Pig World. Peppa Pig World is...
Yes?
It has...
yes.
Peppa Pig...
It's the right answer. Very good. Let's have Tottenham. Hello, Shirley.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for making your call.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Oh, don't start. Did anybody else notice when Bojo was making his speech last night, he had his fists clenched together, and I thought any minute he's kept them close because he's so angry with everything and everybody that he'll open them up and the next thing he'll jump up and down on the desk or whatever it was chatting. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Like to punch him in the face.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't punched someone in the face.
No.
I didn't spot that, Shirley, but I'll dial it up on the World Wide Wait and see if I can...
you have a look at his fists.
Certainly
They're
will.
so clenched tight.
Yeah. Like he's having a bad time.
Oh, he is.
Still, he's doing his best. That's what I heard. Thanks, Shirley. 0345 6060 973. Chris tweets, Trump gone, Bodge on the way out. The whole world will be too boring. You'll have to get a new clown soon. Well, I don't believe that Trump is gone. He's like the shark who's just swum out to sea. He's not gone yet. And I do believe that when is it? When's the next American elections? A couple of years? Don't know off the top of my head. But I think that we're going to need a bigger boat. Because he's coming back. Let's have Belfast. Brendan.
Hello, you always check me unawares. I was just going to say that, first of all, you came out like a blister pack that was being just opened every capsule in your first intro. Brilliant.
Oh, blister pack. That's awful.
Yeah, but there's no way you could have rehearsed that, so I don't know how you do that. But anyway, kudos to that. What I was going to say was that the Tory party have been in power for 90 of the last 120 years, and now they're thinking about levelling up.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. You know, that's some record. The other thing is that the Tory party also voted down the formation of the National Health Service 22 times over a 3-year period in the House of Commons. They said it is against everything that we stand for. Now, that's a fact, you know, and now they're saying, well, remember that big bus? We're going to invest and we're doing more and we're doing everything. But it wasn't until, I think it was Beveridge, was it? I'm not sure who it was. But 22 times the Labour and the Liberals had to fight the Tories. And the Tories kept saying, look, we want the free market, the Adam Smith hidden hand in the economy, the free market economy. It will supply and demand. And a National Health Service is against everything that we stand for.
It's the American system of winner takes all, which is a set of rules written by those who have already won.
Yes, but the thing is, the Americans took a lot of their constitution from the French and from the British, you know, the mother of parliaments, the mother of blah blah. But this was in 1922 or whatever, before the National Health Service was formed. The Tories 22 times voted against it. Finally, if I may say so, you always say that a reward for service, whether it be good or bad, in British politics, is a seat in the House of Lords, which is also a seat nearest to the bar in any booked up restaurant. But there is a higher power, and that is the Privy Council. Now, the Privy Council is made up of every leader of every party who was either successful or unsuccessful in elections in the UK since the formation of your country. And the leader of it is the Lord President is Jacob Rees-Mogg. And so he has to go to the Queen. Do you remember the Speaker, the Parliament channel was the biggest draw in the whole of the world when the Supreme Court found the government telling lies?
Yeah, that woman with the spider brooch. I couldn't take my eyes off it.
Her, yes. Well, that was quickly forgot about, but it was Jacob Rees-Mogg and his two henchmen who went to see the Queen to explain why that was all nonsense. And the Privy Councillors, there's only 3 of them allowed to go, and the Queen historically makes them stand. They're not allowed to sit because the monarch would say that if they're allowed to sit, they'll take too much of her time. So they have to stand and then go away. But what I'm saying is, the Privy...
what are you saying?
I know, I'm going round and round. But the Privy Council, I didn't know this, that Tony Blair, when he was Prime Minister, because it's privy, obviously it's private, so no matter what party you come from, you, after the House of Lords, go to the Privy Council, and you're the final, ultimate say. Tony Blair contacted Kennedy, who was the leader of the whatever it was at that time, and Duncan. Remember your mom wore the baseball hat? What do you call him?
The man who wears the baseball hat.
Remember he was going to be Prime Minister, and then he wore a pair of shorts and a baseball hat, and that was him finished. Conservative.
You can't possibly mean Ian Duncan Smith.
Yes, him. Yes.
A baseball hat and a pair of shorts.
Oh no!
Nobody wants to see that.
That was the end of his career. He was
not entirely. Not entirely. No.
Yeah, but what I didn't know was that because of the Privy Council rules, privy meaning private, Tony Blair contacted Ian Duncan Smith and Nigel Kennedy. No, he plays the violin, does he?
Wow, this is the worst history lesson ever.
I'm not sure. Is it Nigel Kennedy plays the violin?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. He's the punk rock violinist.
Do you remember the wee ginger alcoholic? Who was he?
Are we talking about the Crankies now? No, I don't think we are. No, it's somebody else entirely. Hey, Brendan, you've twisted us all up in knots. I have no idea what we're talking about anymore. And this is my show. Can you believe that? But anyway, good work. That definitely sounded like a history lesson to me. Boring. I was staring out the window, desperate for double geography or, just anything other than history. Couldn't stand it. Was there an actual point to any of that, Brendan?
Am I still here?
Well, only briefly. What? Can you skip to the point rather than this long trail?
Oh, thanks so much. Yes, just the point is,
yes,
Tony Blair spoke under the Privy Council.
All right.
rules.
So but it sounds like we've rejoined the lesson where we left off, and that's a big no for me. And furthermore,
No.
But good effort, Brendan. And that was very good example of whatever it was that was. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Hey, look at the time, it's 12:30.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
You're joking.
No jokes. Shashaf texts, it's actually very simple. It's the public's fault for focusing on politics during a political process. Don't they know the rules don't apply to the bodge? Apparently not. And that's on us. Bromley. Hello, Joe.
Hello, mate.
Joe, can you come nearer to the phone?
Yes, mate, here I am.
There you are.
smoke mirrors, I reckon, don't you? I was sick as a dog for a week. Chest problems, couldn't breathe, blah, blah. I thought, I'm dying here. I've got COVID. Went to see the doc eventually. You try and go and see a doctor today.
You can't.
You got more chance of breaking a Fort Knox, haven't you? I finally got in, and he said, well, I'd take a PCR test if I was you. So I did. I went local. I went to PCR test. Took my test on Tuesday. Where are we now? Friday, Saturday, tomorrow. No result. My wife was with me. She took her test, got a result the next day. So it kind of works, but it kind of don't.
Yes.
What is going on? Prior to that,
Excellent question.
Prior to that, we had 2 lateral flow tests around the corner here, and no results. Well, what is the point then? If you go and take it and you don't get a result, what is the point? Is it smoke and mirrors, mate? Is it not really happening?
If we were the only country that was reacting this dramatically to Omicron, we're all going to die, then yes, I would put it down to it is a massive distraction from what is actually going on, which is Bodger trying to paper over the cracks, and also these 2 really alarming bills that are going through Parliament at the moment.
They realise another story. How long are we going to be paying for this for the rest of our lives?
Well, yeah, for the rest of our lives. Yeah. I mean, they're trying to take over. They're trying to do a Republican Party and just take over completely, so that we become, essentially a one-party state. Hard to believe, really, that's happening in this country.
We saw Boris Johnson today with a mask on. Was that not the first time we've ever seen him with a mask on?
Yeah, well, I've dealt with that already. Absolutely, yeah. He was hiding behind it. It seemed to be a particularly large mask, but unfortunately, we could still see some of him.
And can I ask you this?
Yes.
So they sit there, they have cheese and wine. Now, I don't actually have a problem with that, because I do like a bit of cheese and wine myself. But is that the be-all and the end-all? Well, it's headline news now. There was a party that they have cheese and wine. I mean, come on, please, help us out here.
I mean, my limited experience of the Palace of Westminster is that it is a drunken, orgiastic mess after 6 o'clock in the evening. I've never seen so many reeling drunk people in my life outside of a student union bar in Ragweek. It was amazing. I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. Presumably it's because the booze is subsidised by us.
Booze.
And they were just into consuming a vast amount of it. I went there one night, perfectly ordinary. I think it was a midweek night, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. And people were staggering around drunk. I mean, being held up by their gorgeous youthful assistants, which, there seem to be a lot of them around, like flies around meat. These old geezers being held up by their gorgeous youthful assistants, but just careening off the walls. They were so drunk. So the idea that the parties they have over at SW1 are very sedate affairs, where one has a couple of sips of wine and a small square of cheddar. Do me a favour. Oh, no, they're not. But thanks, Joe. 0345 6060 973. Well, the Met Office have announced that they're going to speak to 2 attendees of another blooming lockdown-busting party hosted at the Tory party headquarters last December, when everybody else was under strict instructions. The force, which has faced criticism, the Met Police faced criticism from some people over a perceived lack of action regarding investigations into alleged gatherings at Downing Street, announced the news this last Thursday. They said for this one event, as a special treat, the Met Police will actually investigate a potential breach of the law that occurred in the past. In all other cases, they will only prosecute crimes that happen in the future with the help of 3 hairless people in a tank of goo. And if anyone's name comes up as a future lawbreaker, Tom Cruise will be deployed to correct them. Picked a great film, by the way, isn't it? Pictures showed a rule-breaking event for Sean Bailey's mayoral campaign took place inside the party's Westminster HQ on December the 14th, 2020. Several hours earlier, the then Health Secretary Matt Hancock announced that London would move into Tier 3 restrictions, meaning that the mixing of separate households indoors was strictly prohibited. This seems to be the Conservative way. It is strictly forbidden. Let's do it. What are we not allowed to do? Yeah, let's do that. Amazing. Members of Downing Street staff joined the party. So it's not like they didn't know. It's not like they were unaware of the rules. They were setting the blooming rules. Members of Downing Street staff joined the party, apparently, which included dancing into the early hours of the morning, despite London's COVID rules, barring indoor socialising at the time. Mr. Bailey bowed to pressure after a week of intense demands for him to quit, and 4 staff members have been disciplined over the raucous gathering in which a door was reported to have been damaged. They were swinging off the hinges, having a party. An image taken on the night last December shows Mr. Bailey, 50, standing in the middle of a crowd of some 24 people huddled closely together at Conservative Party HQ with platters of food. Oh, I can only dream of being at a party with platters of food. Who paid for the food, by the way? Was there booze? And if so, who paid for that? Mr. Bailey, who is teetotal, is understood to have left the party early in the evening. 8 days after the gathering, he took to Twitter to urge people to follow the rules, saying that restrictions were tough on every Londoner. Not every Londoner. Labour, the Lib Dems and the Greenies on the London Assembly have written to the Met Police Commissioner Cressida Dick to demand an investigation. Good luck with that. There was a string of parties attended by politicians in November and December 2020, which are being investigated by Cabinet Secretary Simon Case, or were. Cabinet Secretary Simon Case, you will be unsurprised to learn, has been accused of attending an impromptu Christmas drinks party himself in breach of COVID rules. What? Isn't that just the very limit? Simon Case, who was asked by His Bodgeness to look into potential government gatherings at the end of 2020, is alleged to have shared drinks with 15 to 20 staff in mid-December 2020, according to 2 Whitehall officials who attended the event. Well, ain't that great?
Oh, fabulous.
The informal event, according to a joint investigation by The Independent and Politico, was said to have taken place at his office and in the waiting room outside outside in 70 Whitehall. It's said to have taken place at his office and in the waiting room outside in 70 Whitehall. A waiting room. What do you do in there?
Wait. A
third official who did not attend said the event was discussed the following week, and they were asked whether they attended the waiting room drinks. Today, Labour and the SNP, or this will be yesterday now, SNPists questioned whether Mr Case was suitable to lead an investigation into Downing Street's allegedly rule-breaking parties in light of the revelations. And I think we can agree that the answer is perhaps...
No.
Not really. A source close to the Cabinet Office said they could not rule out that the drinks had been consumed, that drinks had been consumed at civil servants' desks, but a spokesman rejected claims of an organised gathering, saying in the statement, "These allegations are categorically untrue." And we can safely put that in the file marked categorically untrue, along with all the other things that this government have said are categorically untrue. Right. I mean, we believe them, don't we? I only know what to believe when I hear Boris Johnson tell me that something is categorically untrue. Only at that point will I definitely make up my mind. And at the time that all this was going on, London was in Tier 2 restrictions, meaning people were not allowed to socialise indoors and were told to work from home where possible, under threat of punishment. Can you believe several bottles of wine and Prosecco, if you please, were poured in the office, the two officials present claim, and in the waiting room of the Cabinet Secretary? Simon Case allegedly carried a glass through the group as he greeted staff who gathered for what one official characterised as last-minute drinks, including civil servants from other departments. And, you know, this is also desperately pathetic. These tiny little details. You think, who cares? And none of it's important apart from the bit about us not being able to do it. About us not being able to say goodbye to people that we loved who were dying. That's the bit that really kind of makes your guts sink, don't it? I mean, who cares if they had cheese and wine and it was Prosecco and he carried his glass to the blooming office and some people were in the waiting room and some people were in his office and all these excruciating, tiny, deeply unimportant, boring details. Apart from the bit about us not being able to do so, and not because we were denied the ability to have a cheese and wine gathering, it's because we were denied the ability to say goodbye to people that we loved, spend our entire lives with. They just slipped away on their own in hospital because we weren't allowed to go and say goodbye. Rules read out by these people who then turned around and had a party. God, we must look like ants to them. Simon Case was described as in and out of the gathering, drinking with colleagues. Crisps were also served. They had crisps.
Oh,
no. There were Christmas decorations on the table, one of those claimed. One of those present claimed. Oh, my cron. They had crisps and Prosecco. It was practically an orgy. The same official said it was a fairly regular occurrence for civil servants to drink at their desks during this time, but claimed that the gathering in Case's office was a very bad word beginning with P, followed by up. They described it as a P-up. And, weirdly, or coincidentally, the word beginning with P is actually, if you say it's the P word, it's actually a less rude version of the word that actually starts with a P, up. Get it?
Disgusting.
Exactly. The Whitehall employees who spoke to The Independent and Politico questioned the suitability of Simon Case to lead the inquiry into Downing Street parties. And now Simon Case has categorically stood down from investigating Whitehall parties, given that he would be in danger of investigating Simon Case. 2 short years, that man has turned this country into this. The Whitehall employees who spoke to The Independent and Politico questioned the suitability of Simon Case. Of course, Bodger has faced sustained questions about staff Christmas parties since the Mirror reported that officials drank wine and exchanged gifts via a secret Santa on December the 18th, 2020, which is just the press being mean to him, when they should just accept that he is a special person and as such is not supposed to be bound by the rules that he sets for us mere mortals. And don't we want to know what those secret Santa gifts were?
Yes.
I mean, do we expect that they would include at least one marital aid?
Absolutely.
Definitely. What were they? I can't believe that these excruciating details haven't seen the light of day yet. The Prime Minister announced last week he was putting Simon Case in charge of an inquiry into the claims, and now Simon Case is off the case. And I think the dear leader should be free to investigate himself. He could look into his own conduct before coming to the verdict of not guilty. Problem solved. Please move along. Nothing to see here, and it's 51 weeks in jail if you don't. The Prime Minister said last week he had asked the Cabinet Secretary to establish all the facts and report back as soon as possible. Findings had been widely expected this week. Johnson pledged, it goes without saying, that if those rules were broken, there will be disciplinary action for all those involved. Not him, of course. Other people. A. Bodge. Bodge has fashioned a bus out of old beer crates that he will throw his staff under if there's so much of a chance that it might do him good. It's what Bodger does.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Angela Rayner, Labour's Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, said that there is growing evidence of a culture of rule-breaking. Alexa, can you tell me the definition of understatement?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
Let's have a call in Belfast. Hello, Mark.
Hi there, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
First of all, I thought your previous caller there, Brendan, I thought he was brilliant. I had no idea what he was on about, but
no.
I thought he was fantastic.
It was entertaining, yes.
I think actually the Conservative leader he was trying to think of was actually William Hague with the baseball cap.
Oh, that's right. Don't be vague. William Hague.
Yeah, indeed. No, I just had a thought. I just wanted to pose a question, just sort of get your 2 cents on it. Is it me, or is Boris Johnson more of a product of the sort of reality TV culture that we find ourselves in over the last 20 years? And as time has went on in various aspects of the media, as time has went on, he's been sort of built up and up and up into the position that he's in now. Because even when I was a youngster and I wasn't so politically aware, I knew who Boris Johnson was.
Yeah.
And I could be completely wrong.
But it's
here,
not reality TV that that made you aware of Boris Johnson. It was because he was the funny bloke off the telly on that panel game. What's it called?
Yeah. Have I got news for you?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a guest on it, and he even presented it. He was even on Top Gear as well.
Was he?
And did a lap. He did, yeah. He's one of the guests that did a lap around the track.
I don't remember that.
You know, he did, yeah. It must have been. It was before even he became London Mayor. And
well, he used to do. I don't recall ever reading one of his car columns, because he used to do a car column. It was probably for one of these silly men's magazines, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than a newspaper. That's probably why I didn't ever read them. But he used to be a car reviewer.
Yeah, yeah. And
I bet he's a terrible driver.
Well, I don't recall his lap around the Top Gear track being that breathtaking, really. No. So potentially,
I would imagine he probably got lost. Ended up in Wales.
I was surprised he didn't. No, but he's one of those unusual characters that for a politician to be so much in the public domain, as it were, more so for anything but politics.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, Donald Trump, you could say, is definitely a product of reality TV, because that's how he became famous, by pretending to be a successful businessman on television. That's why people think he's a successful businessman, is because that's the character that he played on that TV show.
Yeah, and I wonder, obviously he got voted in, and I wonder, is the mindset of certain people who would be in for like that kind of reality TV, is the mindset of someone like that would be they want to be involved in it in some way or another. So this is their way of sort of living their own kind of reality TV, hence voting in someone like Trump. And that's why I make the sort of comparison with Boris. Like he's sort of, well, I wouldn't say he's as bad as Trump, but certainly Trump light.
Yeah, Trump like, yeah.
Yeah, and I just wonder, is that a fair comparison, perhaps, in terms of the certain mindset of people, why they would vote for him?
I think it's different. It's different here and there because we are different people than Americans. Americans worship money and revere people who have more money than they do. I mean, that's their class system over there. How much cash have you got? Whereas we still are a nation of cap doffers. And when we hear a posh accent and when we hear somebody who is of the upper class, then we genuflect before them and assume, as they wish us to, that they are superior in every way. They are born to lead. This is what's... they are imbued with this notion from a very young age that they are superior just because daddy had more money, or that they didn't buy their own furniture, all this stupid stuff that they obsess about. And we're guilty of letting them get away with it.
Yeah, well, I hate to say it, but those boots must be like mirrors by now.
They must be like what?
Mirrors.
Oh, mirrors. The boots.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes. What with all the licking? Is that what you mean? Right, okay. I think I got it. All right, thanks a lot, Mark. Cheers, mate. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Now, how many texts and emails have I not read? Oh, my God. There's about 6 feet of emails and texts and tweets that I haven't got around to yet. I'm not very good at my job. Derek tweets, I'm not saying there wasn't people in poverty before 2010, but the one thing I can't remember is people having to use food banks. I don't think they even existed then, says Derek. That's a good point. I mean, there were homeless people, absolutely. So maybe food banks should have existed, and I'm sure people were on the poverty line then. But, it's a bit weird after 11 years of a Conservative government that they are now selling themselves as the party to fix the problems caused by the last 11 years of the Conservative government. I mean, what a nerve, eh? And it does us no favours at all that we seem to be in agreement with that, or enough of us are to allow them to, carry on regardless. Edward says, I'm trying to picture the Tory Christmas party of last year. I can imagine musical chairs with Bojo and Jakey Smug gaily skipping around the last chair with Priti Patel on the piano playing Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Well, that's a pretty vivid imagination there, Edward. I'd get some sleep if I were you. Luke says, Boris Johnson is a deflated bad joke. Well, don't sit on the fence, Luke. Tell us what you think. Keir is less spoiled and obnoxious than Johnson, says Luke. He will get my vote, and I bet many more by election time, because Boris will just get worse and worse, like a huge ball of sticky tape rolling down a hill. It speeds along in a blur, but by the time the thing has to stop, election time, he will be covered in bits and pieces. And we all see what a mess he really is, says Luke. Well, I don't think you have to wait. I think the jury is in. See what a mess he really is.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yes. Even behind that gigantic mask that you are now sporting there, Bodge, we see you. In fact, it makes you look even more of a mess than you did before when you were strolling about without it. Because now all we can see is your hair. Your hair and your unironed shirt and your squiffy tie and, that whole thing that you got going on there. It's an act in order to put us off the scent, ain't it, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
That's a yes. I'll be back tonight at 10 o'clock. Now, the instructions for who's on next are right at the bottom of this page, so I have to scroll down about 3 feet. Just as I suspected. I'll be back at 10. Ian Payne is here from 4, but right now it's Clive Bull.
Whoa, thank you very much indeed.
Echoing.
Sounding like a Dalek, but I am here between now and 4 o'clock. And coming up, well, we'll continue the discussion about the by-election and Boris Johnson, 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 and Boris Johnson and Boris Johnson.